it's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such.
And it's Thierry Henry, and Henry is magnificent. It's absolutely magnificent. And when you need a goal, you need Thierry Henry.
Suddenly change pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp. That's magnificent.
Good evening, everyone. Big up, Mr. Lee Gunner, Golden Child on the beach in the mud. In the mud.
I'm in the mud, mate. I'm in the mud. Last treat me from the mud. There is actually where I'm at. There is actually a beach here full of mud that you can rub all over your body. So I might actually go and do it for the banter.
Mate, mate, you're hating your life right now, aren't you?
I'm going to move from where I am, yeah, because it's a bit. I can't hear you properly with this music, yeah. But I'm going to go and move over here, get away from the music a little bit. Sorry if it's windy as well, but it's mad windy where I'm sat.
No worries, man. No worries. Ken, great to have you back on, my friend. And we're going to dissect Arsenal tonight. It's the three bad boys back together because that's what we are. Nobody likes us. We're probably the three most hated people, Arsenal fans, on YouTube. And we get into it, but we speak honestly. We don't take bullshit. We say it as it is, and I don't give a shit if people don't like it. So there we are. So we're going to talk about Lee Kelly. We're going to talk about Gabriel Jesus. Looks like the deal is done. And 45 mil. I'm seeing these figures, and 220k a week. Now, 220k a week. This worries me, guys, because this is what we did with Ozil, Aubameyang. We pay these players all this money, and then all of a sudden, nothing happens. Lee, as my first guest of the first time you've been on my show, what do you think?
Oh, well, I want to say thanks for having me on, Jez. And I did promise you at the end of the season I'd come and do this. So sorry, it's been a bit of a mad one. I'm sat on the beach. It weren't expected. So
no worries.
Apologies on the phone and all that, but. In terms of Gabriel Jesus, I think he's a good player, man. I really like him. Yeah, I think he's quality. But the thing for me is he's got 1 year left on his contract, and it's 45 million quid. If that was the other way round, he would have run his contract down with Arsenal and left for nothing. Yeah, so it's like we're now going to go and pay for a player with 1 year left, 45 mil, and then give him a 5 year contract, apparently, 220 grand a week. That's a lot of dough. That is a lot of dough. And he's not prolific. Let's be real here. He's never scored more goals than Lacazette in a season.
Yeah.
So we're going from Lacazette not being here anymore to a player that I think is a levels above Lacazette. Let's just get that out there. I think he's quality. But we need somebody else. We need a hold-up man as well, because the way we play, Gabriel Jesus is more of a in-the-box type of player. Yeah, yes, he can play right wing and can play left, he can play false nine, etc., etc. But I feel like the profile of striker we need is not Gabriel Jesus, although I'm happy he's coming. But I think it's like him and somebody else we need. They're like a Giroud-esque player, somebody that can hold the ball up, back to goal, bring other players into the game, unless we're going to totally change our playing style. And then he'd fit in differently if we go with a more Man City style of play, which I don't see us doing, because there's nothing to suggest this manager's going to do that. So I don't know, maybe they've got something else up their sleeve, but I'm happy he's coming. But it is a lot of money, man, a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny, what's your view, man?
It mirrors what Lee says. One of my biggest worries is that he was actually signed by Man City to take over from Aguero. Because he's one of those players. You know what we spoke about last week. He's one of those players that when Man City don't have the ball, They like triangles, i.e., they like their players being some sort of triangles where they block the pass, they block the out ball going wide, and they block the out ball going to the left as well, and they try to press teams. So that's what he does really well. Plus, he can play various positions, play those channels. But the fact that he went back to Aguero says a lot for me. However, he's at a club where he is the main man. He is a lot better than all the strikers we have at the moment. So he will definitely start games. My biggest worry is in a team that, plays attacking football, dominates possession. He's only had, 8 goals last season and 8 assists? Not that I take assists very seriously, but it's a goal column that I'm really concerned about. But, he will be a better addition than what we got before. And hopefully, he'd been the main man rather than, the player that we gave a 5-year contract and $100,000 a week, and who we're probably going to talk about later in the week. So definitely happy. But I think throughout the show, as much we're excited about these prospects, we're not hearing what we want to hear about, players, fullbacks, right back, left back, areas where I think is more just as urgent as the striker position in the midfield. But, because Kieran Tierney can't be relied on, and I just don't think Tomiyasu, as hard-working as he is an orthodox right back. But that's something we're going to get to before. But in terms of what we're getting, unfortunately, Arsenal need to accept that, we've proved that we can pay a lot of high wages, and we can pay a lot for transfer fees. And we've been doing that since 2018 when the Kroenkes got full control. So it's no different. I just hope that if we do spend money on this guy, that it's money well spent, and he proves to be the difference towards us, getting a top 4 and challenging. I really hope that works, but he's going to need a team around him. And I want someone else, as Lee says, to give us a bit of variety. I want Ivan Toney because, when you talk about the player can hold the ball up, play with his back to goal, and has a bit of a goal threat, Ivan Toney's your man. 100% your man. He's physical as well. So if it's just Jesus and his own, I'll be flat and deflated and a bit, knocked, because I know he's not enough. He's not the player that we need. He's a player we need, but we need players around him as well and a variety. If it's just him, I'll be well cheesed off.
Yeah,
thing is, mate, I've been looking at his stats. Premier League last year, 28 games, 8 goals. I'm not overly happy with that. I'm sorry. That is not great. Sorry for my book. We need, let's get it right, guys. We need to be getting in somebody that's going to be banging 20 goals a season. We haven't had that since Aubameyang went, and Aubameyang hasn't done that for a while. So we really, we've got to mix it up here. I'm not convinced. So, let's move on to Rafinha from Leeds. 65, 70 mil. This fella. Leeds. What's your view, man?
5 million for a player that we've broken the bank for, is our record signing. He's going to be leaving by the looks of it, Pepe. So now we're going to replace him with another player that's 60 odd million in a position where we're already got Bukayo Saka, who played every game last season. To me, that makes no sense. No. Again, he's a player that I really like. I think he's a good player, but is he any better than Pepe? We don't know. I've never seen Pepe, have we? You know what I mean? I like Rafinha. I think he's very technically gifted. He's not quick, but if you've got good feet, you don't need to be quick, do you? But I don't know. Every time I've watched Leeds United play, is pretty much with Calvin Phillips been their best 2 players. Them 2 have been their best players pretty much all the time, which is why Man City are about to sign Calvin Phillips, because they need somebody in that mould, and he's decent. But I don't know, man. I just think that we need somebody centrally. Yeah, we need somebody that can go and bag 15 goals centrally. Yeah, in midfield. We need somebody that can sit and hold midfield properly. Basuma, for me, I'm fuming he's gone to Tottenham, because I thought he would have been perfect. We would have had him in there. If Partey's injured, we could play him in the Partey position. He can play as defensive. And he can get forward as well. Like, he don't score many goals, Basuma, but I think that was a player that we should have been looking at. I feel like somebody like Maddison should have been a player we were looking at. And if we're going to go and do that kind of money on a player, why are we doing it in a position where we've already got a player that ain't getting dropped all season? He played every game, Saka. So unless we've got a plan for Saka on the left rather than the right, I think it's a bit of a strange one, I can't lie. And then if you look at the players that we've got on the left, we've got Smith Rowe, who should be central, midfield, rather than left forward. And then we've got Martinelli, who should be a striker. So for me, that's a position we should be filling. Yeah, and then we can put Smith Rowe in if you don't want to go and get a Maddison. You can put him in central. Then you just need a proper defensive midfielder. You know, obviously Pepe's going to leave, so they want to get somebody else in. But I think that's a big risk, mate. Really, honestly. And like, people are going to watch this going, "Well, you lot are negative." I genuinely don't care. This is exactly how I feel. And for me, it's a player. It's a player that we're gonna spend big money on, and he's gonna get the level of protection he is going to get from this fan base, even if he drops Pepe-esque performances. Yeah, he's going to get protected by this fan base because it's Mikel Arteta's record signing. Yeah, and that's something that I'm a bit worried about as well, because I've watched him for Leeds and I've been impressed with him most times I've watched him. Obviously, they've been spanked pretty much all season, just gone. Yeah, but he's always tried to do something. He's always trying to take a player on. I like that kind of player, but at the same time, I feel we should be doing that on the opposite wing. Thank you. Not on this wing. We've got Saka there. Saka played all the games last season. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Put Saka on the left? I don't know. I don't get it, mate. It's a bit of a weird one for me. But again, he's a very good player. And the players that we want to be linked to, players that we are linked to, players we're looking like we're going to sign. But again, even if we bring him in with Gabriel Jesus, and then we go and get this centre back, for example, does anyone seriously think we're getting above Tottenham on like next season? Because for me, the top four again as it stands. Yeah, we ain't done anything with Jesus or with Rafinha if we sign him, or with this Fabio guy to push us above them. For me, they've got 3 players in forward positions that can all bag 20 goals next season. Yeah, and most likely will. Yeah, we know Son will. We know Kane probably will. Well, Kane definitely will. And then Kulusevski bagged 8 last season. He didn't play a game until February. So that's the worry for me. We need somebody centrally that can bag goals in midfield. We ain't got a player that can consistently bag goal after goal, like a Lampard type player that arrives late in the box. And then we ain't got anyone left wing. Yeah, because Smith Rowe, as good as he was last season, there was games where that guy was just useless. Yeah. That happened because he's young. But at the same time, I think he should be playing in centre mid. Yeah, he shouldn't be playing out on the left. Then if you put Martinelli out there, well, I think that's a waste as well, because I think he's a striker. So I don't know. This club, they move in mysterious ways, lads. Yeah, and we're going to find out real quick this season how good this manager is after spending, by the end of this window, this will be the 4th window in a row we've outspent Liverpool, because we will. And they can compete, but we can't. So we're going to find out how good he is and if he can get us in a title race this season, because that's the least I expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask Kenny this same question, mate, and I'm going to come back to another question about Pepe. Kenny, what's your view, my friend? What's your view?
Well, it's funny you say that, because a Leeds fan, I spoke to a Leeds fan, and he's actually a Londoner, but he's a Leeds fan, and he swears by this guy. And I watched a few reels, and I went back and watched what performances for Leeds, and I like this guy. I think when I was mentioning it, a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, but what about Saka and players like Martinelli?" I'm going to say something controversial. I don't care if it's competition for Saka, Martinelli, and Smith Rowe, because guess what? They haven't done it yet for the football club. If we want to be a club that challenges for big trophies, that challenges for the top 4, then we should have options, and we should have players who can push them for the first team place. It shouldn't be a given that Saka should be playing every game last season. Shouldn't be a given for Smith Rowe, Martinelli, every players. If we are signing players like Rafinha, then I'm more than happy. Saka can go to the left, because from what I saw last season, I think this guy will open more doors. Open up more defences, not doors, but more defences. And I think he'll create more chances than Saka will. Saka's a very effective player, but he's equally good on the left. I know that's probably going to be, a threat to Smith Rowe and to Martinelli. But I'm not bothered. I don't care. personally, I think in terms of like footballing ability, this guy Rafinha is better than Saka anyway. Now that's going to be very, very controversial because I think that Pepe's technically, you know, better, more talented than Saka, but Saka's a coached player. But you're not allowed to say that. But trust me, on this show, and that's where we come on here, I do not protect players. You know,
No.
if we want a squad, then sorry, you fight for your place. I don't care about your development. We haven't won a trophy for now 3 years. We haven't been in the top 4 for 6 years. We haven't won a league for 18 years. So no one's safe for their places. The same at Man City. You know, Foden's got to fight for his place. You know, so Sterling's got to fight for his place because Grealish is coming. That's how big clubs got to operate. You've got to fight for your place. So I have no issue with Rafinha like comes to the club. You know, if he could push Saka or if he's better than Saka, then he plays. But in terms of what Lee's saying about, you know, areas, I don't want people to just look at Rafinha and look at Jesus and look at, you know, lad we signed last week and think, you know, that's it. I'm really happy. No, mate. Got to push for more, mate. You got to push for more. You got to sort out your spine. You know, full-back position is a precarious position. We think Tavares isn't good enough, and we think Tierney's injury prone. So what we do, we get a full-back who could replace both of them. Doesn't mean, you know, that I think Tierney's crap, but I'm in a situation where I want Tierney pushed. If he's not fit, then whoever comes in, you know, is the man in possession. He plays on the left back, and Tierney's got to win his place back. The same with right back. But yeah, I mean, in terms of Rafinha, I'll be happy to get him because I wouldn't lose sleep about pushing Saka out, you know, even as a false number 9 or pushing him down the left-hand side because I think Rafinha will push him and I think he's a better footballer than Saka.
Fair point, mate. But can I ask you the question? I'll ask you first and then I'll come to Lee. Pepe, what has gone wrong with Pepe with Arteta? Is it my theory? This is my theory only that he was assigning that Emery didn't want. Let's be fair,
yes.
He didn't want him. He wanted Zaha from Palace. He paid 72 million quid for that fella, and basically Arteta has him as a bench warmer. What's your view?
Yes. Well, for me, I'll tell you what went wrong with Pepe is what you just answered the question. Unai Emery didn't really want him, but you know was forced to play him because he's a big money signing. Arteta when he went through that temporary sort of win backs, which won him the FA Cup, Pepe was exactly what he needed. But as soon as we went to an orthodox 4-3-3, that's when the problems start with Pepe. You know, because one of the things Arteta likes, and he's just like his mate Guardiola, is winning the ball back when we're not in possession. You know, being in positions where we're not outnumbered on the counter attack. And when I was watching games with Pepe involved, I could just see Arteta's body language whenever Pepe was on the pitch.
Yeah,
he had no problem when he was on the ball, but off the ball, his body language and his criticism, you could tell that he got exasperated with the lad. And I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, he's never going to give him a chance, because simple reason is that coaches like Pep Guardiola and Arteta are megalomaniacs. They try to control you. They think that they micromanage you. You just have to look. Man City just won a 6-0 in the FA Cup final against Watford, and he was still coaching Sterling and telling him what he didn't do wrong when a guy virtually scored an hat-trick. It's the same with Arteta as well. They are what I call controllers. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think Pepe would have succeeded on this manager, especially in a 4-3-3. Because the simple reason is that he's got a stiff neck when it comes to players being in the right position, organisation off the ball. I think he takes as a given that, you know, when we're in attack, that we're always going to be in the right positions. He never reacts when we're in the attack. He's always cheerleading, but the minute we're off the ball, the arms are all over the place. Lee could tell you that.
Yeah.
100%, Kenny. Right. The thing is, because of the protection of this manager from this fan base, we might as well call Arsenal Durex FC. Like, because the protection level is 100, isn't it? It's actually embarrassing how that guy has been scapegoated as the biggest issue at the football club. Like, and everyone's cheering that he's going to be leaving. Yeah, well, is that not toxic? Is that not negative? I thought you're supposed to back the players. Like, that's what we keep getting told, isn't it? Back the team, back the team. Well, Pepe's part of the team, isn't he? Yeah, and I think, like, you made a great point a minute ago. That FA Cup victory, like that FA Cup win that we had, remove that something. That FA Cup victory that we had, Pepe was key in that final, and he was key in the semi-final. Yeah, against Man City and against Chelsea, he was outstanding. Both he nearly scored. If Maitland-Niles' toenail wasn't offside, he would have scored one of the best FA Cup goals we've ever seen. Yeah, it was a banger, mate, in that final, and it was ruled offside because Maitland-Niles. Yeah, and it's like, I don't understand what this guy has to do to get a run of games. I think the most games he's played in a row is 8. Yeah, for me, there's something iffy with it. There's either something in the contract that says that if he plays in a certain amount of games, we have to give him a massive lump sum or something, or the more goals he scores, then we have to give him bonuses and stuff like that. Because when you sign a player for 70 million quid, they're going to have something in that contract, that other club, yeah, that we've signed him from, Lille, saying that with bonus. I remember when Martial signed for Man United, there was a Ballon d'Or clause in there, wasn't there? Yeah, there's going to be some stupid clause in there somewhere, I think, which is why we've not seen this guy hardly play. When he does play, he's frustrating. Yeah, he's mad frustrating. He is. But I like him. I think he's unpredictable. Even he don't know what he's going to do half the time. But when he's on it, he is on it. Yeah, the problem is he don't get a run of games enough to be able to get on it. And then we've seen it. It under this manager, we've seen it. He'd go and score a banger against Brighton. Next game, you're on the bench. Yeah, and it's like, then he'll win the game for us against Wolves. Next game, on the bench. Yeah, and it's like, why? What has he got to do to prove that he can actually have a run of 5, 10, 15 games in a row? Because although Saka's good, and he has been good this season, yeah, he got better from the Tottenham game. He was quality for a couple of weeks. Then he went off the boil again, and then he went on a mad one, scoring every week. But he's going to be up and down. Yeah, he's going to be up and down like that because he's a kid. He's 20. Yeah, so you need somebody, yeah, that's going to fill that position and give Saka a bit of a rest. Yeah, and Pepe could have been that guy. If we had Pepe play maybe 10 more games this season, I think we would have got top 4. I can't lie. Yeah, because we burned Saka into the ground this season, man. He looked knackered in some of them games. Yeah, and then he was coming down with injury a lot, wasn't he? And then he was coming back on with cramp, and then he was out again, then he was up again. Yeah, the amount of time, every time he drops, it's like, oh my God, is he injured? Is he injured? Because he's that crucial to Arteta. Yeah, and it's like, you need somebody that's going to come in. And he's been sat on the bench all season. If I was him, I'd want out as well. And then when you see what you just said a minute ago, when you see your manager waving his arms about, yeah, and then calling him out after the Leeds game. Was it the Leeds game where he got sent off? Yeah, called him out, publicly hung him out to dry. But then Xhaka gets sent off every week. And, he's showing heart. Yeah, he's fighting for the team. Yeah, it's like double standards. And if I was him, I'd want to go as well. Good luck to him wherever he goes, mate. I think he's decent. I think he's really decent. And that's why I worry about Rafinha coming in. Because if Rafinha comes in, yeah, he ain't getting in the team over Saka on that side. So it's like, where are we playing Saka? Yeah, and yes, Saka can play left. Yeah, and he was very good under Unai Emery at left wing back. Yeah, but I don't know. For me, there's so many things at this football club that don't make sense. Like, you know, I know we're probably going to come on to defenders in a minute, but we're looking at a centre back. Well, ain't we just had one come back from Marseille? Yeah, we've got Gabriel, we've got Saliba, we've got Rob Holding. Who's the other one? Ben White. Yeah, and then we've got Tomiyasu, who's apparently a centre back, but he's been playing right back. So, like, we've already got 5 centre backs. So why are we now going to go and look at another centre back unless 1 or 2 of them are leave? Well, Tomiyasu will probably play right back anyway. I think Salah will be gone. Yeah, and it's like some of these decisions. Yeah, and it's funny watching the players that are leaving. Yeah, all be players that were signed either under Unai Emery. Yeah, a lot of them are gone now. Yeah, the only one who's going to survive out of that Unai Emery era, yeah, of signings is Kieran Tierney. Yeah, that's the only one that survived. And I'll tell you what, if he has another season of injuries, he'll bin him next season as well. Yeah, and I don't know, it's weird. Like, I think Salah, some of the players we've let go under this manager are better than the players we have. Guendouzi, yeah, Saliba, Aubameyang, them 3 all start for this football club under any other manager. Yeah, but this manager is almost like, even Maitland-Niles, let's be real, Maitland-Niles was man of the match against Watford. We never see him again. Then he went off to Rome. Yeah, and it's like some of these players, like it's almost like the ones that are a little bit don't toe the line, the ones that are a little bit vocal, a little bit, you know, swig, and all of that. Yeah, and have a little bit to say for themselves and want to talk in the dressing room. It's almost like he wants to zip them straight out of the club. Yeah, and that's only going to end up one way eventually, mate, and that is down. Yeah, because eventually there'll be a player revolt, like we've seen at Chelsea so many times. Yeah, with Hazard and all of them, and Fabregas and Costa. Yeah, they were all vocal, and eventually they said bollocks to it. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I'm just going to say, Lee. Just going to say, this comment here from Ken11. I guess he's 11 years of age. Absolutely fuck all about Pepe, the worst top 5 signings in the Premier history. Mate, let me tell you this, my friend. Arsenal in their goals signed a lot worse signings than this. You know, I could rattle a few names off here.
Park Chu, was it Park Chu's son? Yeah.
Yeah.
Shamak, there's another one. Shamak.
Yeah, Lord Bentner.
Cabadiara.
Throwback.
Marinello before you guys were born. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on because that's just, you know, pathetic. But there we go. Yeah, I mean, I'll just finish my word on Pepe. I like Pepe, and I think the way the club have used Pepe is a bloody disgrace. And I think it's purely the fact that Nketiah doesn't like him, doesn't respect him, and yet again, Arteta facts that I don't like you, so you ain't going to play. It's like a little kid in the street, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to take the ball home. I don't like you. No. Anyway, we move on. Nketiah. Nketiah. Yes. 5-year deal. 100 grand. Number 14 shirt. What can we say about that?
Mate, I can say a lot about that, and everyone starts crying because he's now the second coming of Ian Wright, isn't he? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Our fans
don't get me on that one, Lee. Don't get me on Lee Wright. Don't get me on Lee Wright. Because I will lose.
I want to say the channel will be shut down real quick, Jez, so I'll keep it polite. Yeah, Eddie Nketiah run down his contract. We've begged the geezer to stay. We've told him he's going to be a starter for most of the season. Now we're going to sign Jesus. So he's now going to sit on the bench because Jesus' level's clear of him. Right? We've then given him Thierry Henry's shirt number. And when people want to sit there and say it's only a shirt number, well, it ain't. Yeah, Johan Cruyff's shirt number was 14. That got retired. Yeah. Maradona's shirt at Napoli, I think, got retired. Yeah, these are iconic numbers, and they're iconic because the player that wore the shirt made them iconic. Yeah, and that is why, you know, Thierry Henry is arguably the greatest Premier League player of all time. Yeah, me personally, I think Bergkamp. Yeah, but that's just my preference. Yeah, right. But we've had two with Bergkamp of the best players ever to have played in this league, right? And both of their shirt numbers should have been retired. AC Milan retired 2 shirts. Or is it Inter? It was Inter Milan. I'm sorry, it's Inter Milan. Number 3 and number 4, I think, at Inter have both been retired because their defenders were so good, yeah, that they said, no, one's ever taken them shirts. You see it all the time. Yeah, but we've begged this guy to stay and paid him 100 grand a week, right? And I've seen people sitting there saying, oh, but he was a free agent, so he could go somewhere else and he'd get that. No, he wouldn't. Even as a free agent, you lot are mad. 100 grand a week. Yeah, 100 grand. Mate, I see something today of Liverpool, yeah, saying that they're thinking of selling Mohamed Salah because he's demanding 400 grand a week. They're not bending over backwards for their top goal scorer every season, right? Who's in the peak of his powers. Yeah, whether I rate him highly or not is irrelevant. That guy scores 20 goals every season, minimum. Yeah, and they are always in the latter stages of every competition and title races, right? He is a massive part of their team. And they're going, boy, if you want to go, you go, mate. Yeah, we ain't paying you 400 grand a week. We're sitting here begging Eddie Nketiah. Yeah, Eddie Nketiah. Sorry, mate. Yeah, and then what happens is because it's Mikel Arteta's man, yeah, everyone's just going to jump on it and go, oh, yes, well, you know, he hasn't had a full season. And in the games that he played, yeah, he scored 5 goals in 8 appearances at the end. I don't care. That guy is not going to fire us towards a title. Yeah, I don't care. I genuinely don't care. Yeah, he is not firing us towards the title. Yeah, Gabriel Jesus gets in that team over him, and if he don't, it's a shambles.
Kenny, what's your view, my friend?
I still say I see Eddie Nketiah in the team, and it just fills me with anger. Fills me with anger. That is not the caliber of player that I want at this football club. You know, all three of us gave ourselves a stiff neck talking about that the DNA of the player that we need is someone who can win us a championship, or the Premiership championship, and someone who could, get challenged in the Champions League. That guy proved last season that his level is Carabao Cup against teams in lower divisions. No disrespect. Some players are good at that thing, but as a top player leading our line, an absolute disgrace. And people saying, well, he's only a reserve. That's good business. Why is it bloody good business? Why do Arsenal? Why does a player who's basically scored 5 goals all season, but because they want to sort of play along and rewrite history, so I'll call it 5 and 7. I don't care. He's not Arsenal level. He's never been Arsenal level. He's been here 5 years, and he's not once has he ever challenged Aubameyang for his place, Lacazette for his place. He's never challenged any of our players. And all of a sudden, we go to him, he scores 5 and 7, and then all of a sudden, we're giving him a contract, and we're thinking he's top class. What has happened to this club? What has happened to this club? Trust me, under Arsene Wenger or George Graham, this guy will not be getting games. He'll be going playing for Colchester. That's a fact. Or Huddersfield. He's not Arsenal level. So for Arsenal fans, just think that because Arteta says it, those pork chops that go, well, I'm a great Arsenal fan, so basically this is my mantra. I'll back whoever's in charge, whether the pork chops say that, and I'll back whatever the manager says. And then you've got another pork chop that says, well, you guys have never played the game before, and you guys are just fans, just a supporter who supports. Mate, had it not been for the fact that I'm in a show where young kids are watching, I would have used language that are not befitting a Christian. I'm not going to do that because I'm a Christian. But let me tell you something now. You don't tell people about support. You don't go around telling people, how to be a good fan. You want to back the club? Fine. That's your support experience. But I'm going to use the benefit of my 42 years supporting this great club, seeing players come and go, good players, bad players, indifferent, bad eggs, good eggs. I'm going to use my experience and my knowledge of the beautiful game and form my opinion. I don't need Arteta to tell me about 4-3-3. We played 4-3-3 under Herbert Chapman in the 30s. So I know when 4-3-3 started. You don't need to tell me about good Gegenpress. We were doing Gegenpress in around the 1960s. Yeah, don't try and preach me. And that's for Ian Wright. Let me tell you something about Ian Wright. I'm going to tell you 2 facts about Ian Wright. He is a pork chop, but that's just stating the obvious. But one thing I will say about Ian Wright, he's a balloon. What I mean by a balloon is when you get maybe a matchstick, or you get one of those little pricks, compasses with the prick on the end, you burst it and hot air comes out. And that's what I call Ian Wright, a balloon. You prick it and hot air it comes out of it. That's all he is, hot air.
Mate, 100%, right? But the fact that he sat there and said, oh, it's only a shirt number. Somebody sent me, I don't know if you guys see it on my Insta, somebody sent, it was him, Lacazette and Aubameyang, on Arsenal YouTube channel, Arsenal Media or whatever, And Aubameyang said, why number 8? And he said, oh, on my second game for Arsenal, I think it was against Leicester, he said, he goes back there, nobody had a shirt number. It was like Paul Davis had number 8, but if Paul Davis didn't play, the player who came in had number 8. Yeah, so it's not like now where you all have squad numbers. And he goes, so what happened was I had number 9 in the first game. He goes, but then Alan Smith came back in the team, so Paul Davis was out, so I had number 8, scored a hat-trick, and then I kept number 8. I said, you ain't having it back, basically. Yeah, and he's got the audacity to sit there and say, so that lad, I don't know who that lad is. There's just somebody that wasn't rude, wasn't derogatory, wasn't nasty, wasn't even on Eddie Nketiah's post. It was on the cameraman's post, the photographer, Stuart, is it? He put a post out on Instagram, and the lad replied, he is not good enough to give £100,000 a week and see him his number. Why are we wasting time? Yeah. And then he replied with what he replied, and he said, how can you be so negative towards a player? Well, unless the player's reading Stuart AFC or whatever he's called, his Instagram, I doubt he's ever seen it, mate. Yeah, to sit there and say you're not a fan, mate. Stick to Kroenke out and then wheeling out shirts, mate. Yeah, and let everyone say what they want to say. Yeah, as long as they're not being like derogatory with it. Yeah, you say whatever you want. Yeah, that lad said nothing wrong, and all he got was a torrent of abuse off of people because he called him out. Yeah, disgusting, mate. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, that guy's a fraud, mate. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I genuinely don't care, mate. Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, that guy tweets Kroenke out, says Kroenke out, and then wheels out football shirts. Yeah, piss off, mate. Yeah, sorry, piss off. Listen, lads, my battery is literally on about 4%. Yeah,
no worries, man.
I feel so guilty as well, man, because I was supposed to do this at home. Yeah.
No worries, bro. No worries.
Get me on next week, yeah? I'll come on next week at some point, yeah?
All right, mate.
Yeah, sorry, mate, I would have done all the way through, but literally my battery's about to conk.
No,
and the charger's in the car miles away, so...
Mate, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
It's good we all get together, and as I said before, we're all in the mud. We're all hated, but the thing about it, most importantly, is we say as it is because we're not bullied. I don't like bullies, and I won't be bullied by anybody, by people younger than me who never saw David Price play. Who thinks David Price is related to some page 3 model, and some old fans who just want to sort of patronise me. Sorry, mate, you don't do that. Right, there's 150 years of experience here, and it's all solid knowledge.
Mate, I'm just going to say one more thing before we go.
All right, mate. Lee, take care, bro. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk next week.
Next week, look, mate.
Everybody who ain't subscribed to Jez's channel, subscribe immediately. Big up to both of you, man. I love you both to bits. Yeah, and let's just, I'm going to say one more thing, right? Don't let anyone bully you into not saying what you want to say. Yeah, because a lot of people go down this route of just suppressing and crushing people and trolling people. Yeah, and they're all smart. Yeah, and trying to cause pylons, and then they'll sit there and cry wolf. Yeah, when you fucking call them back out. Yeah, it's like, you're bullying. Yeah, well, how about you shut your mouths? Yeah, say what you want to say. Leave me alone. I'll say what I want to say, and I'll leave you alone. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Right, I'm going to be calling some people out.
We've all seen this football club win titles. We've all seen this club compete for titles. Yeah, we've all seen this football club be the best, which is why we smashed the stadium down, right? Yeah, so when this football club decide to do what is required and what is needed to fulfill why we smashed that stadium down, then I will shut up. Until then, they can jog on. And anyway, I'm going to have to bounce, mate. It's literally beeping at me.
No worries, man. Lee, thanks for coming on, bro.
Big up to everyone in the chat. I'll take her out.
I'll take her out always.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah, take care, bro. Take care, bro. Right, Kelly, I'm going to ask you a quick... I'm just going to pull the curtains. Just doing my editing. Sorry, man. That was writing me on.
That's all right.
Fabio Vieira, the king is back. The king is back. Really?
You know what, Jez? That is a very interesting signing because a lot of people haven't seen him play, and the club said they've watched him for quite a while. The thing about it is that Porto, in all the games Porto have played, there's only 2 clubs in the Premier League in Portugal. You know, Benfica and Porto, maybe Boa Vista. So basically, they're going to be dominating their leagues. I haven't, like I said, seen enough of the player to make a judgment. And I know what people saying, well, he scored 6 goals and 14 assists, and everyone talks about that in favourable terms. And I respect that, but if you're spending that money, £35 million, and you're really, really going to big this guy up, the guy has to be pushing for the first team. He has to be in a situation where he's pushing Odegaard for that place. You're not just going to, he's going to have to make a mark in pre-season. That first game at Crystal Palace, he has to be pushing for that for a start. And, it's not a case where we can gradually bring him in because the urgency of our situation cannot be underestimated. We haven't won the title for 18 years. We haven't got top 4. And that's the bare minimum for 6 years. So we can't afford to carry players and bring them along because we need players who are going to push Odegaard. If he could push Odegaard for his place and that he he gets to the team and he's better than Odegaard, I'll shake the club's hand and say, you've got a gem there. But if he's there as some sort of backup, again, I wouldn't be too displeased. But if he's just there and we're going to wait for his development, just like we did with Saliba, who we're going to come to, then I'm not going to be amused at all. Because I'm sorry, the money we spend a truckload of money, and the money, if we're spending big money on players, then they should be pushing for first team places. They should be, perhaps better than what we got. That's my theory, and that's why I'm semi-annoyed, because the midfield I wanted and we needed has gone to Tottenham. I still can't get over the fact that that we basically stalled. We stalled on him. People, a lot of fans now getting the moralistic high ground, and now being politicians, and now being tabloid journalists. Oh yeah, why we want that sort of player at the club? Blah blah blah. He was involved in an incident in Brighton nightclub. I'm sorry. Don't these guys heard of Charlie Nicholas? I remember Charlie Nicholas getting involved in shenanigans in the West End. Now not the West End, Highgate, where he used to live, where he had an argument with a woman where she was eating a packet of chips. He put his hand to eat the chips, and there was an argument, and he got charged with a criminal offence. So it's not as if Arsenal players of yesteryear have ever been involved in anything like that. It happens. I mean, you have. What about our Tuesday club when Tony Adams was a manager? What about the sort of things that happened with Alan Sunderland, Raphael Mead, all during those periods? Loads of Vistinians off the field. Peter Story, when he was a club, was no angel. We know Charlie Jules is no angel. So for our fans to take the moral high ground, and I think it's not just our fans, I think football fans in general, I hate using that word, but I'm going to use it. They're woke. I think that when people are woke, I think that the reason why they come out with these sort of statements, people pretending to be male feminists, they're doing it because simple reason is that these players are earning more money than these guys will ever see. So they have to be whiter than white. So the minute they put a foot out of place, they become moralistic. They couldn't give them a rat's bottom about what these players get up to. But because they're on 50 grand a week, all of a sudden they got an opinion on everything, rather than what they should have an opinion on is his footballing ability. And the guy's footballing ability screamed that him and Partey, with another, would have made us one of the strongest midfielders in the country. And that would have propelled us into dominating football matches like we used to, and that would get us right in the top four and get us challenged for the title. That's how good that midfield would have been with him and Partey. And I think Arsenal fans who are upset that he's not at the football club understand that. The other Arsenal fans who are criticising him and blah, blah, are just trying to be seen as good fans and as, good citizens of this country, rather than, thinking about what's best for the club. The law will take care of itself. We're not lawyers. Let the law take care of us. Let the CPS do what they have to do. But when it comes to football ability, which all I'm interested in, we should have got the player.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I can't disagree anymore. I'm just going to go through some comments, Kenny. David, that's big up to you, mate, down in New Zealand. And according to my son, who lives in New Zealand, it's a little bit cold down there right now. So fair play to you, my friend. And must be, 7 in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning where you are now, right now. But Darren Sullivan, the players don't give a fuck. They have no time for us. I'll be calling these players and the manager out as many home games this season. Good luck to anyone trying to stop me. Mate, go 100% for it.
I respect Darren.
Kenny,
you know what, Des? Sorry, Kate. But you know what? This is Darren spends a lot of money going to watch this up and down the country. Not only are you spending a lot of money, you're spending time as well. This is something that you immerse yourself in, supporting a football club. So you care about the results ultimately, winning, and also you care about the lifeblood of this club and the reputation, and you want to see good players. You want the team, to be in a position to win big trophies, and you should be entitled to say that. Just as anyone who wants to back the club, win, draw, lose, hit the booze, they're entitled to do that as well. I'm sick and tired of, going on Twitter, and that place is in a cesspit of intolerance, bullying, all sorts, everything that's bad about human beings. That like handle Twitter is basically how do I say it without trying to use words that offend? It's basically the dregs of society going there. Some horrible, horrible people who try to judge you, try to control you. And the thing that really annoys me about these people is that they actually think they're nice people. They actually think they're nice. When you try to criticize a fan for having an opinion, you're not a nice man. You're a bully, because you know full well the minute you say something and use the correct buzzwords on that platform, people are going to pile into that person and then start having a go at him. Now, this guy's probably never ever been on social media, so he probably was thinking, "Hang on here, I don't need these guys. Why are they calling me all these names? Why are they threatening me, trying to threaten my wife and kids? Why are they threatening my mum and dad because I had an opinion on a player and an opinion on a football club?" Yet these so-called nice guys on Twitter, have created a situation, and the minute problems happen, they disassociate themselves. That's what they did to Claude. They did that to Claude 2 years ago. They did that to Chick as well.
We could come on to that in a minute. I'll just answer Taib's question. It's not far away, man. About 450 watch hours. So it's getting there. It's not bad since I started only in April. But a couple more chats here. Darren Oliver, see the Arsenal haters, the Rat Army. Yes, are back at talking bollocks again. So support your actual club, the Yids, and leave the opinions of the Arsenal, real Arsenal support.
Jess, can I answer that? Darren,
go on.
With a cap like that, you're probably about to fail your A levels, because rather than talking absolute nonsense and having time to write this nonsense, you probably should be doing your coursework. You're I'll tell you one thing: you're a pork chop of the highest order. You're a balloon. No doubt you're going to tell your mates that, look what I look at the comment I sent to Jez. Let me tell you something now, DH. And that's what you are, a DH. Let me tell you something now. I've been supporting this club for 42 years, which is probably a long time before you're born, and probably before your parents were born. So I will not go and support the Yids. I'll go and support Arsenal against the Yids, and if that's what you want to call Spurs fans, at North London derbies, home and away, which I did last season, and I'll do it this season. So the actual club I support is Arsenal. As for people like you haven't got a handle about this club. You're heavily influenced by idiots on Twitter who basically are nice guys who suppress anyone with different opinion and say, "Oh, I back whoever's in charge. I support the club through thick and thin. The job of a supporter is to support. And sorry for a fan, it's to be a fan, not to do down our club." Well, sorry, mate. The reason why we have these discussions and debates is because we want the best for the football club. And if we don't think that the manager is on the right lines, well, we'll say so, which is just as much as you're entitled to praise the manager. It's a free country and people are allowed to have an opinion. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know if you heard of free speech, but if you haven't, go and get a book and read it. Because I think at this moment of time, and it's now 10 to 8, British Greenwich Mean Time in Britain, free speech is still allowed in this country. So you go back and study for your A levels. Make sure you don't fail them, because if you fail your exams, you're going to be doing your retakes. And if you keep failing them, you won't get into university. So I think that you need to spend your time wisely rather than showing off to your mates and talking absolute garbage. All right? Now, go away, Stop watching, Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel or something like Victoria's Secret and go and revise.
I won't be quite so polite, Kenny. Darren Oliver, fuck off. You know, I don't give a fuck about little mugs like you. You know, I've dealt with little mugs like you all my life, and I've got no respect for you. So piss off. If you don't like it, comment, and we'll have a debate about it. But I ain't interested. You don't upset me. Oh, missed one there. I was going to get that one. Where's he gone? There he is. THFC Brown. Jesus, 28 games, 8 goals, and 4 of them came in one game against Watford. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
This guy's got his thinking cap on because I forgot about that game. Yeah, he did score. He did score a hat trick against yeah. And then he scored against Liverpool. And then who did he score after? So that's 5. Who was the other 3 goals against?
Oh, I can tell you. Hang on. I'll tell you. Hang on.
So 4 against Watford, 1 against Liverpool.
Yeah, I can tell you. Got it here. You talk about in the league, aren't we?
Yeah, in the league, yeah.
Yeah. Arsenal, 8th to the 12th, 21. Chelsea. Liverpool, 4 against Watford and 1 against Leeds. That's in the Premier League.
Well, it doesn't leave you much encouragement. You know, people could say that, you know, he hasn't had a run of games, blah, blah, but he's at a club where Man City have to win every game. Man City have to get the Champions League final and finally win it. So competition is rife. You know, there's going to be no waiting around. And I want that at Arsenal Football Club as well. I want a situation where he's under pressure, that he has to score every game. We have to win every game. You know, that's the name of the game when you play for a big club. And I want that sort of competition at the football club. I want another striker to push him. You know what I mean? I don't want just Eddie to push him because he'll be playing every game. If he's only got Eddie for competition, I want someone else to, you know, like push him and, you know, keep him on. It's just like I want Saka to be pushed by the prospect of Rafinha coming to the football club. I don't want him to be threatened. I want him to be threatened by it. I want him to be stressed about it. I want Martinelli to be stressed about it. I want Smith Rowe to be stressed about it. Or hopefully this Vieira guy stresses out Odegaard because it's competition for places. These guys ain't that bad. Let's not forget we finished last season. We finished 5th when we had only 1 game a week, when we basically were given a head start by Spurs and Man United, who left the back door open and left the safe open, and we still couldn't capitalise. That's just a fact. A fact. So when we laud these players, like that pork chop Darren, whatever his surname is, Carter, or whatever it is, I'm sure he relates to those pork chops and EastEnders. That's what we're talking about. You go along, you know, worship Ian Wright, go and worship the fan cams in the main fan cams, and we'll just carry on talking about the football like real men and real fans.
The thing is, before we wrap it up, Kenny, I want to ask you this one question, man.
Yes.
Edu.
Yes.
Edu. Do you actually think he is doing a good job in this transfer window?
He's been more busy than he was last season.
No, for sure.
I think one thing is that, you know, he's doing what he should be doing. You know, like he is using the sort of Brazilian connection to get these players or even start talking to these players. So in that respect, is Rafinha better than what we got? Is he going to push for first team places? You have to say yes. In terms of Jesus, I would have liked someone alongside Jesus. If we could get a player who can get us 20 goals a season, who happens to be a Brazilian player playing in the top leagues in Europe, I'll shake his hand. But at the moment, one of the reasons why I'm not going to give him high marks, and one of the reasons why I'm going to say no, because I'm fed up with Project Youth. I'm sick and tired of him going on every platform expecting a pat on the back because of Project Youth. Arsenal Football Club shouldn't be about Project Youth. You know, this isn't Fergie's fledglings or Busby Babes. You know what I mean? We're a club that's got all the foundations in terms of like the reputation football club. We should be changing, you know, our attitude or off the pitch. And the DNA of the player that Edu should be looking for is, can this guy help my club win the league? I don't want to hear about Edu saying, oh, yeah, I've got this young team and they've been great in a few times. Look, you don't have to try and educate me, Edu. I know what you're trying to do. And in terms of business, I get it. You want to get young players in. And then if they come good, you sell them and want to profit. We all went to business school or did economics. So I get where you're coming. But football fans want to win now. So the player you should be getting is a ready-made player who can help us reclaim our place back in the top four, help us win the league, and help us challenge for the biggest competition in world football, the Champions League. That's the DNA. And until you start getting those kind of players, then you're not doing a good job, mate. Project Youth can go forth and multiply, mate. So don't go on every platform or go on the alleged supporters forum where you're looking for a pat on the back, because you're not going to get a pat on the back from me, mate. I know what you're doing, but football fans, you know, want to win. Yeah, there's a few accountants and they're going to be happy that, you know, that we make this money. But how many Premiership points do you get for making a profit on a player? How many trophies do you get for making a profit on a player that you bought for a song? I don't see. I don't look in trophy cabinets and say, oh yeah, by the way, alongside the FA Cup, the League Championship, and the League Cup, oh yeah, by the way, there's a title on which the profit margins are in the trophy cabinet. They're not in the trophy cabinet. You know, you make a profit one year, the next year you don't make as much profit the next year, and sometimes you make a loss. That's what happens in business. You run a business, Jez, you know this. You know what I mean? You know,
well, I used to, mate.
Not every day's well, you used to, but not, you know, not every day's Christmas. So all I'm saying is that put winning trophies before profits, and then until Edu does that, I'm going to be on his back. I'll be criticising him, and I'm going to be like a rash. I'll be on him
all day. Now, before we go, Kenny, I just want to be controversial.
Yes.
Very controversial.
Please.
There are certain channels out there that hype up Arsenal, and I'm not talking about the big one. We'll forget about the big one. But there are certain people that like to hype up Arsenal and talk absolute fucking bollocks.
Yes.
One of them, and I'm going to name it.
Go on. It's your show. Yes.
She knows Arsenal. I was watching it earlier before the show was on. Our show tonight. What an absolute load of dross. Now, this woman, very nice, I'm sure, but another one that hypes up the bullshit in the Arsenal fan base. And I was reading the comments, Kenny, and it was pathetic that what she was putting out there, and people sign up to it. Probably because she's a very good-looking woman, very nice-looking lady, and talks very well, American, and all that. Beautiful. But this is the cancer, or one of the cancers in this football club, Kenny. And I'm sorry, man. These people are signing up to this agenda and accepting this absolute crap that we have from these channels, whereas you, me, Lee, Diesel, Warren, Del Boy, Kyle Walsh, we keep it real. We speak facts, man. We say it as it is, and that's what it should be about. This fake man is the fake.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know. I've never heard of her before until about a year ago. I've never had a conversation with her. I've never watched any of her stuff. You know, watched her stuff. But from what you're telling me, one of the things that I've been very critical of, Edu, in terms of youth products, I can only assume that people like herself, and there's other channels as well. There's some guy who used to be a geography teacher, an absolute pork chop, an absolute balloon, and a repulsive little man. Even though he's about 6'3", he's an arsehole. Absolute arsehole, and he should not be trusted.
I know it is.
He's one of the biggest liars out there. He's the sort of person who would catapult you, catch you in the eye, and deny he had anything to do with it. He's an absolute pork chop. But people like him, people like the people he associates with, and certain fans as well, they think that they try to get one over on people like me and you by becoming the club's accountants, trying to explain things in ways that try to make us look stupid. We're not here to be made to look stupid. We're not certainly here to make you look stupid. We talk about football, all right? Just because we speak in passionate tones, we don't keep our emotions in check. Doesn't mean that we don't have any knowledge about the game. Doesn't mean we don't know about tactics. We have no knowledge of the history of the game, of players, their abilities. We just got all of that knowledge. But the fact is, we prefer to care about the lifeblood of the club. All right? We're not Ralph Ragnick, right? Where Ralph Ragnick went to Man United, where he was there to tell them what was wrong. And in terms of, this player's not good enough, the structure of the club's all wrong. Yet they also hired him as a 13 coach to get results. So everyone's praising Ralph Ragnick for basically, like I said, being some sort of like a doctor who diagnoses a disease. Sorry, he's there to win football matches. And that's what I say to all these guys out there. We don't want you to be accountants. We don't want you to try and educate us. We know all that. We know Project Youth is about, making profits on up-and-coming players and hoping that they come good through, being watched by our players. And then all of a sudden, if Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Bayern Munich come for them, we can sell a project. We're not pork chops. We all know that. But what we want to talk about is why, after 18 years, we still haven't won the league. We want to know, after 6 years, why we still haven't been in the top four. We also want to know and want explanations on why the DNA of the player that we're signing isn't the sort of player that propels to the league. We're not just going to go along with Arteta just because he's the man of possession. We're not just going to go along with anything the club says because we're Arsenal supporters. We want to question it, and we've got a right to do that. And that's why I have a lot of problems with some of these channels. You mentioned a woman who talks about 1989, 24/7. She's another person who throws out darts to people who have different opinions to her, particularly us three. But the minute we try to question her back, she encourages all sorts of abuse and bullying our way, and then pretends she has nothing to do with it. She will swear blind that she's not part of that get along gang. When I know you're not part of the get along gang, and I'll tell you why you're not part of the get along gang, because I don't want you.
Yeah.
They've seen how they've sampled you as a person, and they decided, no thanks. That's why you're not part of that get along gang. But you do have that kind of tendencies where you encourage bullying and pylons under the guise of what a lovely person you are. You're not a nice person if you start throwing comments out there, and then all of a sudden people who not innocently, passionately support this football club get all sorts of abuse. Let me say something now. That's not going to work with me. I'm still going to show my space at the Arsenal next season. Be loud and proud. Know who it is. You've got a problem. We can talk about it. I've got all day after the match for us to have a chat. And then we'll go our merry way. I'm not here to be intimidated by you guys. I don't care about you guys, because at the end of the day, I know what you guys are all about. You're all about your next slot on Sky, your next slot on Talk Sport, or maybe getting some paid written work. I know what your game is. Back the club, make sure that you don't swear, make sure you don't rant, then you'll be seen as suitable and seen as someone who has a good image, so sponsors can get involved in your channel. I know how this works. I've been doing this for about nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
I've been paid to go on TV shows and work on Sky. I've had people saying, don't say this and that. I know. Don't need to tell me all of that. Don't need to educate me. I know how it works because I still keep in contact with these players. I still keep in contact with the journalists I used to work with at Sports Tonight. Top ones. I still keep in contact with ex-players I used to work with. So you don't need to come out and say, I'll just say it works, Ken. Oh, I know.
Thing is, Kenny, the sad fact is you get these people that think they're going to make it to Sky Sports or whatever, and they're never going to do it. I mean, let's be honest, Kenny. When I set this channel up, I had no ambitions. None at all. I'd set it up just as a little YouTuber, just talk about Arsenal, talk to you, Lee, other guests I've had on, brilliant guests. I mean, we've had some great discussions with other people. It's been great fun. And that's what my ambition is. I'm not looking to be AFTV. Never going to happen. If I was that deluded, I'd be an absolute arse. Seriously. But
some of them do that. Some of them do it. The thing is, the genie's out of the bottle with new media. I don't call it social media. I call it new media, where people genuinely want to be famous by getting involved in all these channels. They will contact me and you because they know that Lee's got a big platform, so they say, "Oh yeah, I really love your stuff." Blah blah. Oh, by the way, can you get Lee Gunner to answer my DMs? Or before then, oh yeah, I love what you do. You're a really good guy. Can you promote my stuff? Because they know that at the time I was on good terms with people in AFTV. I know how this works, boys and girls. I know you know what I mean. You it's like a domino effect. I get with him because he knows this guy, who knows the other guy, who knows someone getting caught Sky Sports. That's how it doesn't have to be like that. I prefer to be talent, but everyone wants that big thing. They want to have what Lyle has and the connection Lyle has. They want to get with Lyle because he's got massive connections. So if you're a YouTuber and you happen to have, a few subscribers, I'm sure you want Lyle to notice you. So you're going to get people who've worked with Lyle. We all know that Lyle watches Lee Gunner's show. We know Lyle watches our podcast. We know that other channels watch our podcast. I know for a fact they do because they come and tell me. We know the club watch. We know that club's social media department are watching what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
And they know exactly what I'm saying about I do. I'm not being bigging myself up. I know for a fact. You know what I want to know? You know how I know boys and girls? Because 5 years ago, certain people got emails about their vlogging at the club and being told in no uncertain terms they'll lose their memberships they've vlogged. So how would they know if these people vlog? I'll tell you how they know. Because the club, through the security guy, also their social media department, all young lads in their 20s, they have a specific job to monitor fan opinion. The best way to monitor fan opinion is watching things like this.
Exactly.
Going on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So don't think for 1 minute Big Brother ain't watching you. Big Brother's always watching you. And the Arsenal Football Club are watching you.
I know that because I'll talk to you about it offline, Kenny, but there we go. Guna Don, yes, Diesel is coming on, my friend. He will be in a couple of weeks. I'll get Diesel on with Kenny, and we might even get Northside at the same time, and Prince Fowd. That'd be fun.
Prince Fowd, he's Arteta in.
Mate, the other night I was on North Side's show, and I absolutely lost it with him. Because bless him, I lost it. I really did. I had to apologise. He called me a fake fan.
Why?
He did. Yeah, he did, and he denied it in one of his rants, and all the chat was saying, "You just called Jez a fake fan," and I went on him, mate. I went in on him, but that's another story. But anyway, guys, it's been a great chat. Thanks for watching, Kenny. Thank you once again, my friend.
Look, Jez, I enjoyed them. You know, it's you know what, you know how this is, right? You're priest, and I've sinned. We're you know, tabernacle of a church. You're my parish priest. Been a bad boy this week, and I'm just letting you at my sins.
Yeah, well, that's fine, my friend, and you know all that. But Lee was on. Unfortunately, he had to go. His battery ran out because he had an emergency call out to do something. But guys, thanks for watching. Smash those likes up. I'm on the road to 2K. I'm not far away, so please sub and all that. And yeah, it's been great. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Kenny, top fella. Lee, enjoyed it. All in the chat. You've been amazing. It's been a great show. So thank you all. And we'll be speaking again soon. Take care, everyone. And Arteta out, you prick.